okay, it says Indian tribe, a separate and distinct community or body of Aboriginal Indian race of men found in the United States. That's talking about two different communities of people, but they're both being classified as Indian tribes.
And we fit into the second.
You fall into the first.
Oh.
A separate and distinct community.
Okay, each one of us is a separate and distinct community.
Yes.
Okay.
By your family tribe name. Everyone in the Americas is classified, that's born here, is classified as an Indian, all the way from the Inuits up in the North Pole, all the way down to the South Pole. Nitwits down there, okay? Come on, think about these things. I tried to underline them, bold them, and everything else in the damn item to make it very obvious to you. And then I get jumped by people that basically I'm too hard on you guys. Basically, some of you guys just need to have a 2x4 thrown up against your side of your head because you're not thinking. And basically kissing your ass ain't going to make you think any better. So I ain't going to do that. You've been babied long enough. It's about time you get out of your damn diapers and start understanding what the hell's really going on. This is a communist country. It was taken over by the communists in 1871 under the 14th Amendment. The churches and everything else, they are a communist organization. A communist organization is designed to withhold private property.
Yeah, they don't believe in private property ownership.
That's right. And they have taken it away from us under these perpetuities. Not everything that came out of England was totally bad. They were the ones that stopped the religious churches from issuing perpetuities against the people's assets. Why do you think the Dark Ages were out there? Because the churches confiscated all the people's assets and gave them pittance to live on.
Yeah, they expected you to sacrifice everything you earned for them.
Yes, and that's the communist system. And here in America, like I said last night, better dead than red. Well, basically, their whole system of the communist control of this country is by the dead, the fictions. That's how they got control of everything, is basically by putting a fiction, a dead person, a bankrupt, in place of the living.
Right, and they're still fleecing the dead, too.
Yes, because they're still laying on the battlefield out there, and basically it's fodder to them. They can use it for their own benefit. It's collateral.
Yeah, they call it salvage rights and stuff. They salvage costs for the estate for salvaging whatever's left of the estate.
Mm-hmm.
Like salvaging a boat. They say what they're doing.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. They said a lot of this stuff out here, people just haven't heard what they've been saying. That's why I tried to explain to people about the court action. You don't hear what the hell they're saying in court. Your mouth is running 90 miles an hour when they're out there trying to help you in some cases. That's why I said last night, you need to understand what implied means. And you can turn around and use implied back against them. Especially when you go through these 300 word definitions and start lumping some of them together, seeing how many laws they're violating.
Yeah,
I had to go back through and modify my package that I'm going to be sending in the Supreme Court. I was hoping to get it out today, but I didn't. And it's a good thing I didn't, because I needed to put also in the Church of Rome, my Roman Catholic baptismal certificate, which created a religious communist perpetuity for the Church of Rome. And see, the Church of Rome has issued the order out to allow those things to be restored, but nobody knows what they're supposed to be asking for in the restoration. They're supposed to be asking for their perpetuity to be handed over. You have to go to the Supreme Court, who is in charge of the equity for the Republic. And have them issue the orders to the Secretary of State for your safe harbor, safe passage, both at the state you're living in, and the state that the Secretary of State for the United States, for your passport. But from the Republic standpoint, everything has to be from the Republic. You took an oath, a pledge of allegiance to support and defend the Republic, not the communist. But yet you are, under all these implied actions, you are supporting being a communist member. You have to renounce that. But in the 1950s, they were going after the red communists to get them out of the country because they did not want to have a confrontation between the two different communist organizations. Because the red communists could have exposed the black communist. That's why they got rid of Al Capone. He was running a racketeering job against the people in Chicago that was in conflict with the United States and the state of Illinois, running their racketeering organization against the people in Chicago. They don't like competition. You have to know how to fight them in the right regards. And you fight them with the truth. You expose them. That's the only way that you will basically be able to get out of the system, is by exposure.
Exposing that they conspired to deny us having private property, and they caused confusion and co-tenancy in the ownership.
Yes, by these perpetuities. And see, when you expose the fraud of the perpetuities, they have no grounds to stand upon. Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, and they're still fleecing the dead people's accounts too. They're keeping them in.
Yes, they will do that, but you got to worry about the living account right now.
Yeah, I
okay?
know.
Yes, once you've done this, basically then you'll see how easy it is to go back and claim and bring your father or your mother or your grandmother or whatever to peace, because they're not at peace yet.
Hey, what page is the definition of perpetuity on, anybody? Is that in the beginning or what? It's like I'm down to 8, 9, 10. I'm just looking for perpetuity. Probably at the beginning. Yeah, we'll get familiar with where all these words are at and get familiar with their definitions.
On page 5.
5? Okay.
Near the bottom. In the middle, sort of.
Okay.
Yeah, basically it started out when I started going through the unlawfuls. And I saw unlawful accumulation. And then it had the word. Basically an accumulation of an estate in violation of the rule against perpetuities.
Yeah, here it is.
Or in violation of statutes comparable to the Thuslin Act of England. And I put that act, that English act in there. It's number 84. Because it sort of gives a little better clarification about the 21 years. And see, they basically declared your fictional person to be dead. And then they put a lifetime against that dead fiction. But see, most people don't know that this is what we're after. We're not after trust. We're after our perpetuities. And they definitely weren't held in a trust. They were held in bondage for their benefit, not for ours. Under this communist corporate membership charter, implied charter. See, there's nothing in writing on any of this stuff. They can't operate with something that is written.
It's a custom or a policy then. Sounds like a custom or a policy.
Well, doesn't it say in the Exodus 20 that the Lord God took us out of the house of bondage if we keep to His commands? in that house of bondage, what could it be other than the bondage of the state being represented as Egypt?
Yeah, these perpetuities were out there in Jesus' time too, okay? That's basically what he was going after. And see, that's what the Romans hated about him, or hated about Jerusalem, was because Jerusalem was operating under these perpetuities, taking the assets of the people.
So Jerusalem was doing that, or the Romans were doing that?
Jerusalem was.
Okay.
Rome was a republic.
Right. Yeah.
Now you know why Rome came into Jerusalem and annihilated it in 70 A.D. Because they were so damn corrupt there in Jerusalem that it was ridiculous.
Yeah, now we're starting to learn the real history.
Yeah. That's why I say when you start piecing this stuff together, and see, I knew all along that there was two communist organizations in this country. Back in the turn of the century, when they sent Lenin out of here over to set up the Red Communist Party in Russia and take down the Tsar in Russia, there was still another communist party that remained here in the United States. And that was the bankers, the debt banking communist system.
They used to call them pinkos. They call them pinkos.
What?
They call them pinkos. They didn't call them red or black. They call them pinkos.
Well, they called them in red in the 1950s, okay?
Yeah.
Better dead than red, okay? And see, that people didn't understand that they were claiming, well, I'd rather be dead. Yeah, you'd rather be a dead communist than a red communist. That's what they didn't understand. Because they were driving out the red communists that would have exposed the black communists or the dead communists here in this country that are in control. I've known all along that Hillary Clinton was basically a hardcore communist. Her family was that way. But she wasn't a red communist, she was a black communist.
She went to Iowa and said, "I'm back," like a monster. Like the living dead.
And see, you've got to come in under your right in the process. You're coming in as the plaintiff. You're appearing in pro se, both as the plaintiff and the prosecutor in this judicial action, of which no valid or lawful living defendant can be found to appear. In your action, there is no lawful or valid living defendant that can appear. Because, see, they are a belligerent, this communist organization. So if anybody steps forward right there, they are in violation of the laws of war. That's what I'm saying. When you go through this stuff, these definitions, you're going to find more items in the understanding there than what you really think.
So you just said something kind of important. You said if they step forward, they'll be exposed for what, being at war? Is that what you said?
They are in violation of the war. Okay? If you go through one of the definitions in there, talks about that.
All right. Yeah, we'll have plenty to read here for a couple days.
Yes, you can't turn this. Like I said, this has taken me all week to accumulate all of this and then to try and piecemeal it back into the right process here.
Right. Yeah, you're seeded your mind with all these new words. We got to do the same. Wow, this is big, man. This is why the whole, if this keeps going on, the 21st century will be worse than the 20th century. And this 20th century was a century of horror.
It doesn't have to be that way, okay?
Yeah.
Now, not everybody's going to come out of the system, okay? But that's not your problem.
Right.
You got to take care of yourself first. Until you can take care of yourself, you can't really take care of anybody else.
That's right.
Yes, almost everything out here this is all about perpetuities, okay? That they have taken and confiscated from us. And basically, one of the key things people have to know that there is something called presumption. And it's a rule of law. Known as presumption. And that you can do a collection of facts and actions on their behalf to address them and put them in the presumption that they are operating in a communist manner. They're not operating in a republic manner. Their actions do not support a republic government system. When they're out there violating the Bill of Rights, especially 9 and 10. And then also the right of property ownership. And then when you see that they placed you into a membership, because that's what all these certificates are, these licenses, they're membership cards. Well, what membership are you a member of? what I try to explain to people. You need to ask the question, why? Why is it like this? And then you have to go and search it out, because you can't rely upon mommy and daddy or half the nitwit gurus out here. Okay, any questions?
Yeah, you said the Supreme Court issues orders for passports or the lower courts to do what they, to release the assets and all that.
Yes, you're going to pray to the Supreme Court. Okay, you're making a prayer to the Supreme Court. That's what this action is really doing. A prayer is a petition. Okay? So you've got to pray to the Supreme Court to comply with your wishes and hopes and desires. And basically then you request that they uphold their duty to the Republic and that they issue the order to the clerk of the court to have the clerk of the court issue the order to the Secretary of the State to issue those required documents. You request a sequestration of these perpetuity accounts to go into a sequestration receivership with the aid of the U.S. Marshals to go and seize those assets.
Sounds good to me.
Huh?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's. Yeah, you're making an order. You're making a prayer, but you're hoping that they're going to issue the orders to release everything.
Yes, the court is the only one that can really issue out the orders. Okay, you make your request.
Why is it a request and not a requirement?
A request is a requirement, but it is a valid request, okay? It's a valid requirement, okay? They know what the law is. I've got it well documented that the law is there, okay? So I support all my requests with the law down below.
Right. I would think that we would be giving the court an order.
No.
As opposed to begging the court,
We're giving them
praying
a
the court.
bill. We give them a bill of peace. Now, they have to fulfill the bill by getting, it's like you go into a manufacturer, okay, and you basically submit a bill to the manufacturer. You want this item, okay, this automobile. Now, that automobile manufacturer has to issue out orders to obtain all the parts to put the thing together. That's what the court is doing. The court is the manufacturer of the process to bring about equity for us, to put our car together for us. Did that make a little more sense?
Yeah. They're the go-between.
Yes. They are
Yeah.
basically the manufacturer of justice. The just exchangement, and that's what justice is the just exchangement of something, especially when we're dealing in equity. All these guys that have mortgages and everything like that, okay, they could have turned and basically taken that right to the Supreme Court. Moved it right out of this local communist court and taken it right into the Supreme Court. When you go through these 300 definitions, you'll find that one right in there. See, people have been making this too damn hard, and then basically they try and use all the forms and everything out here of going around and basically playing a good little Communist Party member to get relief from the Communist Party. Well, you're going to get temporary relief, but basically you may have pissed them off in some regards, and they will come after you sooner or later because you're not out of the system.
Yeah, I think Gita had a question about that in the Skype group. Remember, Thomas?
Pardon?
Remember, Gita had asked something about the penalty for the 1099 OIDs. She said they're trying to levy it now. She's got 3 of the $5,000 penalties.
Yeah, but see, these are all implied, okay? All those charges with the 1099 OIDs and all this other, they're implied charges. And if you don't basically reject them, okay, then they are saying you are accepting them under their implied system of using the word implied. Read what it says about implied acceptance.
Well, she did send them a letter saying for them to explain why she would owe that, basically. And she said that was 1 month ago, and she just got the letter now that they're trying to levy it.
Yeah. And basically turn around and say, I do not accept your implied contract or your implied charges.
That's basically what you told me earlier, Thomas. I do not consent.
Yes, you revoke them, okay? You have the power of revoking, okay, as the living. You stand in the republic out here. But you need to get this other stuff now in the process to remove your membership, your implied membership that you consented to being a communist member.
Yeah, and the presumption.
Yes, and basically that's what I have, that I purge myself and exonerate and expatriate myself away from being classified as a communist in their system.
Right.
See, I knew this Expatriation Act was still going to fit into the picture, and it did. When we do our purging of ourselves, of our indiscretions, just like in the movie The Majestic. But he was trying to fight that he had the right to be if he wanted to be. But you have to look at it from the different aspect of what it was really saying in the movie, and most people totally miss that. It's just like some of these definitions. I tried to point out, highlight certain things, make it real obvious. And then people can't even see what is real obvious. Just like in the movie V. What colors were the prominent colors? Red and black. And basically what was going on in the country at that time. They were being controlled by very few people. The communists over in Russia, there was only 125,000 known communists, but they controlled the population of 280 million people. Here in this country, all the government is basically a communist regime, but they don't know it. Very few do. And I think that's what really has upset a couple of these guys at the upper level. And I think Scalia was one of them. See, when you go to the Republic Supreme Court, out of, 9 justices now on the Supreme Court, something like that, 2 of them I know are women. Well, they can't be on the Republic Supreme Court. And then really it only takes 3 of them to make this ruling, a tribunal ruling. See, everything is done by tribal affairs in this country.
So you need 3 out of the 9. Sorry.
3 out of the 9 are women?
I'm saying you need 3 of the 9 to agree with your bill?
You need 3 of the Republic Supreme Court justices. And see, when you take 2 away from 9, that leaves 7. So now you've got 3 out of 7 possible justices that are really Republic justices. And I think Scalia, Thomas, and Roberts, and Kennedy are 4 of the ones that I have a strong feeling are true Republic Supreme Court justices. But see, they can't, while you're still out here arguing the wrong point, they can't aid you. But if you come in the right standing, they have to give you the aid and the relief that you request. You don't send it to a particular Supreme Court justice. You send it to the Supreme Court for the Republic.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you just say the Supreme Court, it's going to go to the Communist Supreme Court.
Is that the correct name, the Supreme Court for the Republic? I mean,
yeah.
Okay.
That's what you took the oath, the Pledge of Allegiance for, to support the Republic.
Right. Yeah, we get to label what kind of court we want to have them decide by. It's our definition. Right? Because we're the people. We have the will.
Yeah, we have to state what court we're putting this process into.
Yeah, I read it. Supreme Court for the Republic.
Yeah, everything basically is for the Republic. That's what this country was founded as a republic, not as a communist organization, which is basically what everything is being operated out here right now as. I'll have a template of this up tomorrow to you, Tom.
Okay.
Okay. That I'll have mine out to sent out to the Supreme Court and see if they will act upon it from a fact standpoint.
It'll be a shock to them.
Yeah, but see, we're going to the one Supreme Court that basically has the jurisdiction to uphold the justice that was identified in the preamble of the Constitution to ensure our tranquility and our liberties.
Aren't they going to kick it back, saying you don't have an open case?
Huh?
Aren't they going to kick it back, saying you don't have an open case?
No. Read, okay? And I've said this before, and I posted this up there, okay, on the site. Out of the first volume of the Statutes at Large, that basically the court system has to accept a document, even if it's chicken scratching on a piece of paper, when it goes into the Republic court system. You're not going into the communist organization. Yeah, the communist court system will revoke it. Because they want you to pay a fee for their services. It's extortion, racketeering. Anytime you have to pay for a government service out here, you know that you're in the communist organization. Because basically, all of those government items were supposed to be covered by the tariff taxes. So if they're putting a charge against you for anything, it's extortion. It's racketeering.
It's a for-profit Communist Party.
Yes. You guys go ahead and talk for a little bit. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, and the other thing is, most of those agencies, they're not their office isn't even established in the state constitution or the national constitution, so they're stealing the national treasury by creating offices that don't exist in the constitution.
And what we ought to do is find that reference in the early statutes that he's talking about, that the court must accept everything.
You said what? Court must what?
Court must accept whatever we submit.
Oh, must accept. Okay, yeah.
The de jure court, that is.
Yes. The court for the Republic. The court for the Republic.
Right.
I think that's the key here, is to get it to the right court. The court for the Republic has certainly been on a years-long coffee break, so that they really don't have anything on their agenda except us.
Right. They're on vacation.
Yeah.
Well, because we're not giving them any work to do. I got some work they can do.
Yep. You can keep busy.
So I think he's right. You got to communicate it to the court, because you're actually moving the court.
Yes.
And I think that's some of what our error in thinking has been, that we are above these courts, and so that they don't really have much authority over us. But if you're not, at least in some way, participating to express your intent or your belief, then it moves without you.
Yeah, a motion is a proposed order.
Right.
And in fact, even in the communist court cases, once the argument is done, from what I understand, there may be some variations on this, the lawyers the lawyers are supposed to write up the orders for the judge, and he will review them and issue them.
Right.
So you have to present the orders. So what you're doing in what we're going to be submitting is the orders that you want him to sign.
Right.
And if anything, what the judge is doing is he's just putting the court's authority stamp on your orders.
And if you go to those courts, the communist courts, their websites and everything, the way that it forces you to communicate with them basically gives you a title. They assign you. So they're in much greater control than we give them credit for.
Well, they have that whole list of presumptions that we don't even know about.
Right. Well, I guess that's first and foremost. We got to break the presumption.
Yep. And too bad this PDF isn't searchable, so I can find the presumption definition. I'm going to see if I can reinstall my Acrobat, because all the ways I have of doing OCR on these PDFs aren't working right now.
Right. Well, I tried that one that you said it had like 6 parts you had to download separately, and that was a nightmare. I couldn't get that thing to install.
Which one was that?
There was like 6 parts, or 8 parts. You download each part individually, and then it's to install the transcription program or the PDF converter. Yeah.
Oh, well, it's the Dragon Speaking was the thing that came in multiple parts, and what they are RAR files. But all you have to do is actually click on the first one.
Right.
When you click on the first one, that was the RAR program will automatically go from one to the other. You can treat it as if it's just a single zip file.
Right.
Because each one of them are what was it, 500 meg, or it's some large size, or 500 megabytes. I guess there's a size limit on RAR files, so that if it's bigger than that, it just comes in a big string, and you click on the first one.
Right. Well, yeah, I think I downloaded it in the wrong order. So the first file that I clicked was not the one that needed to start the setup. So it was.
It was just you have to do it the alphabetical order. You have to click on the one in alphabetical order.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I've been refreshed now, so I don't even have any of those downloads or any of that anymore. It's the whole.
Oh yeah. Okay. Very good. Yeah, I've been reading these definitions, and they really are intense. And I find I have to go through a page and then back up 4 or 5 definitions and do them again to help them really sink in. And that one that I screwed up, the Indians, I knew that the distinction between the tribes that the feds recognize right now and the fact that we are our own tribe.
Right.
But I didn't look at it carefully enough when I spoke about it, and I picked the wrong side. I knew the distinction, but I didn't see it in the words.
I'm having a little bit of trouble with praying the court.
It's kind of standard language. Okay. I was trying to read Perpetuity, and it's tough language. Literally, something that lasts forever. In the artificial sense of the term, as used in the law of property, a limitation of a contingent future interest in violation of the rule against perpetuity. Okay, we're referring to another definition already. A limitation, whether executory or by way of remainder, or of real or personal property, by way of remainder. That's one to look up. Or either real or personal property, which is not to vest until after expiration of, or will not necessarily vest within the period fixed and prescribed by law for the creation of future estates and interests, and which is not destructible by persons for the time being entitled to the property subject to future limitation, except with the concurrence of the individual interested in that limitation. That's one I got to read several times.
Right.
That's a very compound sentence. Have to look up remainder in vest. I know vest means that you have secured your interest in it, but there's probably technical variations in that we have to get under control. Okay, rule against perpetuity, the rule which prohibits the creation of future interest or estates, which by possibility may not become vested within the life or lives of being at the time of the testator's death, or effective date of the instrument creating the future interest, and 21 years thereafter, with the period of gestation when inclusion of the latter is necessary to cover the posthumous birth. Okay, so that's where the 9 months is actually included in the 21 years.
Right.
Kind of clear. And so I guess the rule against perpetuity is based says you can't sort of take custody of the assets in such a way, or get some form of control over the assets in such a way that the guy whose assets they are will really never get them.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the whole basis about the rule of perpetuities is basically that they can't put it out there for a lifetime. And see, the church was the biggest user of perpetuities all the way from their initial foundation back in 340 or whatever it was AD. Okay? They started in basically putting these perpetuities in place to basically withhold the assets from the people for their lifetime.
That was one of the councils, right, where they set the councils of Trent or Nice or something like that.
You know, see, they weren't happy enough basically to hold it for 21 years and gain the profits off of that. No, they wanted more.
Right.
Okay? That's the greed factor that basically is in these elites out here. And then they also want control. If they withhold something from you, they're controlling you. And when you're under their control, then you do what they want you to do to survive. You'll go and fight a war that doesn't make any damn sense whatsoever on foreign territory for so that you can turn around and get your benefits from them that they claim is a benefit, but it's not really. It's yours to begin with. Yeah, so how can that be a damn benefit? That's what I told the Social Security Administration. I said, you ain't giving me no damn benefit. That's my damn shit to begin with. And I ain't paying you a nickel back. And then when you look at all these IRS forms, okay, what colors are they? Red and black. Especially the 1099s. And they always have to go in with a red form. I mean, basically, think about it logically. Does it make any damn sense whatsoever that they couldn't take a black copy and scan it into the system?
Right.
Yeah. And then they're also coming in under their controls of basically this insular possession.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I noticed the word insular. Boy, that's a powerful one.
Yes, and see, that's what they've claimed. That see, they're controlling you as an insular possession, and they're giving you protections as an insular possession, like an island, and basically you have to pay for the protection of the Navy, the Army, whatever, the Postal Service, to supply services to you from mother communist organization.
I didn't realize insular had so many different meanings.
Yeah, when you really study these things, and basically, that's why I say you always take a word, and basically then there's other words in the definition. You go and see what those other words that make up that definition really mean. That's how I got into 90% of that 300 words, going from one to another. And these 300 words, basically, why did I stop at 300? Well, because of the movie 300. The 300 Greeks that kept the Syrians or whatever from attacking Greece. Or whatever they were. Polynesians. They weren't Polynesians.
Persians, current Iran.
Yeah, but the 300 were the Spartans.
Yep, Spartans.
Yeah, out of Spartacus.
Yeah.
Greece or Rome or whatever. Anyway, one of those ancient, old dead societies.
Right. Spartacus were Roman slaves. Sparta was a country.
Anybody else on here has got any questions or anything about anything? Okay?
Well, I know I'm reading this Thessalonian Act, Thessalonian Act, and I'm trying to see how it fits into what we're doing.
Basically, at 21 years, you were supposed to be able to claim your inheritance.
Right. Okay, so the life of a settler 21 years after his death.
Yeah, and see, it's illegal to make a lifetime perpetuity, and that's what they've done. And then, in some cases, they try and hold it after that. 21 years even after the person dies, so that you can't go and claim your father's estate once he's died. See, once the living person has actually died, now that estate is supposed to be brought into full settlement.
They conceal that too.
Yes, they are not stealing it, but they are keeping it from you.
Yeah.
They'll steal it later.
They don't need to steal it. As long as they basically bar you from having it, then you're paying out of your back pocket with your labor to them. They're living off of that. More than enough, okay? All the extortion and everything else, racketeering charges that they're putting against you, they're living fat, dumb, and happy off of that shit. They don't need to take our inherent assets, but they use it as collateral to turn around and write bonds that they turn around and get us to turn around and buy the damn bonds. So we're turning around and funding our own damn demise. How ludicrous is this?
That's
irony.
Ingenious.
Yeah, it is pretty genius. Wish I had thought of it.
But it's been going on this way for ever since Cain and Abel's time.
oh, good. I'm going to listen to this recording again too. Yeah, see, we wouldn't be able to think about. I mean, we might have been able to think about this maybe 5 years down the road, but you're on the yellow brick road you're like point man on the yellow brick road here.
Now, I'm just a crazy man. That's what most people are starting to think of me as, totally crazy.
Well, that's
Well,
because
we're
they
getting
don't
remedy
know what
over here. We're getting remedy over there. Yeah, they might be getting remedy, but basically, hell, half the remedies they're getting are really from some of the stuff that I put out there.
They're getting a ring
And then
around their neck, too.
and then they're turning around and claiming it's coming from somebody else. I don't give a shit about that, okay?
Yeah.
That's still, you're still in the system. I want out of the system, okay? Because if you, no matter what you do, what little remedy you get today will be your demise tomorrow.
Yep.
Well, because they never stop. They just never stop. They can never get off your back.
Yeah.
They're
They
vampires.
will basically take you down in some other means.
Right. They need our blood.
Well, our energy, and basically then if you look like you're getting too damn close, basically they will try and do everything they can to upset your family around you and make you sort of comply with staying as a communist. A good little party member.
Slave.
Yeah, hell, I'm going to hell and everything. I mean, shit, basically I reject the Roman Catholic Church, and I was a strong believer in it there at one point in time. But I was under the old church system, not this new modern Roman Catholic system, and never could figure out how they could really go against almost everything that they've been preaching for almost 2,000 years, and all of a sudden changed the whole damn deal. Now I can see. It was all a fraud to begin with.
Well, they're acquiring a lot of wealth from the properties of that Sestake thing when the Roman Empire was expanding. They were just gobbling up everybody's land, sending them off to war, killing them, and look at all the property they acquired that way.
Look how much property and everything, assets they're acquiring right now, doing the same thing with the servicemen that they're sending overseas.
Yeah.
Vietnam, how many people did they obliterate that over nothing? How many well-educated Vietnamese did they kill in the process? The Khmer Rouge in Cambodia.
Yeah, Pol Pot.
What did they go after? They went after the educated people. The ones that had the knowledge and understanding. And basically they were put in there, the Khmer Rouge was put in there by the CIA, the communist organization, for the black bankers' communist system. Okay, well, I guess that's pretty much about it for tonight. You guys study those words, and I'll try and have that document, a template of that document, up there tomorrow. Do not take this document only if you've got a Word system. Do you take it out of the PDF format, but you only put it up on that site in a PDF format.
Okay.
Everybody is going to have to type this one out themselves. Okay?
That'll drill it into you. I will follow that rule.
Yes.
That's fair.
This one is not to be a cut and paste. You have to basically understand what you're going to be saying and going to the Supreme Court with, because this will bring out the boys that will ask you and question you about what you do know and understand.
Mm.
When you read this document, you will see why I'm saying that.
Now, we've got to read it several times.
Yes, and then basically you need to go back through and search all the words that basically I made up in there. I didn't make all the words up. Basically, that I put that in out of the 300 words there to see how they fit into the process.
Right. Well, I know one I have to look up is posthumous birth.
No, you don't need to look that up, okay? That doesn't apply to you.
What does it mean?
A posthumous birth is basically one that was born pre-delivery of the 9-month period.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Like 6 months.
Okay.
See, they're counting the gestation period, the 9 months of gestation, and then basically the 3 months afterwards as the first year.
Okay, so actually, that's a premium.
There's a lot of other words that you need to look up besides. Don't just get hung up on this. I can't think of the damn word. The unjust
Go ahead.
item here, okay? The perpetuitaries, okay? Don't get hung up on that. There's a hell of a lot of other key important words there you need to basically get a handle on.
Right, that was just one I was looking at while I was talking.
Yeah.
No, there's plenty more I need to look up. I see that.
But they should all be in that document, and when you go down through it, then you can sort of highlight, well, basically that is number 286 here, okay, when you're going through it.
Okay. So that's another value of going through it several times.
That's why I tried to number them so that basically you can sort of get a reference to what, instead of going to the word, because I've got them all scattered throughout there. I don't have them in alphabetical order.
Oh. So we can jot the
I went
number
through, and basically if I got into a word, and basically the word was with R, and one of the words in the definition happened to be C, well, basically I might have the definition for that C word right below the R word.
Okay. So the numbers will help us in note-taking because we can refer to the number when we see it in the middle of a different definition. Good.
Well, yeah, when you switch back and forth, okay?
Yeah, got it. Okay. We'll work on this, Patrick. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Patrick.
Okay.
Very
Talk to you guys later.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Later. Bye.